one of the things I have against our immigration right now is the what they call anchor babies. I think we should reform the system so that rich people can't come here, have a child, and then the child is automatically given American citizenship.
Correct.
That's correct.
Correct.
I don't know if it is. But, so there are a lot of things we can agree on, but I think what we're concerned about is the snafu of mothers and children being separated and then kind of lost. As I understand it, there's still about 500 kids that are in the system.
Exactly, but I want to know. I want to know who the separation. I like the concentration camps. That's what makes it's laughable.
Okay, I see.
Now,
I see
if
your
we
point.
listen. Now, if we decided to drop cyanide on them and mass exterminate all of them, I would see your problem.
Well,
I would agree with that 100%.
Well, why automatically has to have genocide involved? I mean, do you think that the Japanese?
Well, the definition of a concentration camp is what, ma'am?
It's to concentrate a certain group of people.
Okay, great.
Which they did with the Japanese.
That
So
was
they
how it
weren't mass
started.
exterminating the
Yeah.
Japanese Americans, but they did concentrate. They took them
Yes,
from their homes.
yes.
And
The
they
Japanese did do that, correct, during World War II.
No, I mean,
And so did we.
But we also
And
did
we
that
also
here.
did the same thing, exactly.
Yeah.
To what? To do why? Do you know why?
Because people erroneously believe that those of Japanese ancestry were a threat to this country.
Correct.
And the thing
Correct.
is, I think the thing is.
So
that
what
there-
Trump's doing right now is that he's doing the same exact thing that the president did when? In 1945, correct?
well, not
That
the
doesn't
same
make it
thing.
right, though.
Yes, and the Supreme Court recently
But did they
ruled
have
that
guys
this decision
protesting
was
like
wrong.
yourself and these women
Yeah,
protesting the same way?
they had people
in
that pro-
1945.
You know, when-
I don't agree with that.
Okay,
I
well,
don't agree with
I
that.
hope they did, but I don't.
They had the right to, exactly.
Yeah, I hope that
Exactly.
they did. I don't
They
know
did
if
not.
did.
They did not. You know why? Because they supported their president fully.
Well, the
Yes,
thing.
but the president was wrong then, and he's wrong now.
Yeah.
To separate these children from their families, he was needless. It was cruel.
Yeah.
He did not need to do this.
Okay.
And to show how much
So
we get into a
to
mindset.
preserve a threat to the preservation of this country, the preservation of this country is the number one priority of this country, correct?
I
Well,
just
To
don't
preserve
know
this
why-
land that men and women have died for, correct?
yeah, that's true.
How
But
does
just
separating children from their parents, in some cases breastfeeding infants from their mothers, make our country safer?
yeah.
Because it's unfortunate that children have to pay for the sins of their fathers and
Are
their
you
mothers.
aware of the 1995 international treaty that the United States signed that said that it was against the law to separate
Was that
families?
George Bush that did that?
1995.
Was that George Bush?
No, it wasn't George Bush.
Who was it?
1995 was Clinton.
Was Clinton?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's an international treaty that says it's against the law to separate families from children.
And how long did that treaty stay in effect?
It's still in effect.
It's still in effect.
Now look, if you want to say that people shouldn't come here illegally, then that's fine.
Absolutely.
But we don't have to separate them from their kids in order to enforce the law. That's what we have a problem with.
So
Okay.
we shouldn't use the Bible to justify it.
We
Yeah.
should use the Bible?
No, we should not.
It's not to justify that.
Moments, I believe, to justify the policy of separating.
Well, I don't think we should use the Bible for anything in accordance to politics.
I
Well, good.
Or you
Separation.
separate God and state.
That's a
Yeah,
good
I agree
idea.
there.
That's a good idea.
But it gets, some people so much like their religion that they can say, well, you don't believe in God. And that means you're automatically
Yeah. It's your
being.
right to believe in what you want to believe
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
You can believe in this cow right here. I know a lot of people do.
I love that
In
cow.
some lands,
Yeah,
in some
I like that
lands
cow
it's a
too.
holy thing, right?
I took pictures of that cow.
I have several things in college.
The problem is, folks, is that water and air are not free.
You're right.
And
Not
they're actually
anymore.
getting more polluted by the administration's
But just
practices.
because Donald Trump or any president makes a decision that they claim is
Yeah.
protecting the country doesn't mean it actually is protecting the
Do
country.
you know that Barack Obama has and is the worst president in United States history?
Well, that's your opinion. You can have that opinion.
Do
It's
you
a
know
free
why?
country. Why is that?
Because he has cost this America more money than any president ever
I
Has-
don't-
in the
we
history
now have a-
in the history
we
of
now
the
have
United
a
States.
deficit
How
thanks
so?
to this recent bill of $2 trillion.
But you have to understand that that deficit had already carried on from
No,
the
this
prior
was
administration,
the last
correct?
Tax bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But from the
They
prior
added $2
administration, it's just been carried over. It's like a rollover bill. It's like T-Mobile data minutes.
It may
You
be,
can
but
roll
the-
over,
but
roll
the
over,
last-
roll over, roll over, roll over.
The last president to balance the budget was Clinton.
Exactly.
The Republicans
And I
wanted to
remember the
blow it up.
economy in the 90s, and it was great.
It was good.
You know why?
Well-
Because he played the saxophone.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know that. You're a musician?
No, I'm not. I like music,
You
though.
look like you might.
Yeah.
be.
Well, you know, you're right that we have a big deficit problem in this country.
Correct.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Do you know how much Barack Obama cost us in Hellfire missiles?
I don't.
Do you know how much? Do you know how many Hellfire missiles? Do you know how much a Hellfire missile costs?
probably like $1 million or half a million.
Okay, exactly.
also thought that
Do you
military
know?
spending is
Do you know how many orders Barack Obama sent to Afghanistan and Iraq?
He did a lot of drone killing
Yeah.
and all kind of stuff.
Yes.
A lot of people like us that are
That's
more.
what we call mass genocide.
Well, I think
Well,
that's
you
what
can
they
call it
it.
again. It's a free country. You
Exactly,
can call
it's
it
a
what
free
you
country.
want. But you know,
Why didn't anybody revolt against Barack Obama? Because he was black?
actually, there
Well, you
was
brought that up.
there were
There
people
was
on the left
so
that were
much.
I'll admit.
very
Well, yeah,
much
because
against it.
it costs good taxpayers money.
No, but his color shouldn't have anything to do with it. Okay.
His color did not have anything to do with
It
anything.
shouldn't have anything. I mean,
It shouldn't have anything to
you
do with
think
it. It
he
shouldn't
said-
matter
do
if
you
you're
think
black,
he-
red, blue, yellow,
right, but
green.
do you think he said because I'm a black guy I'm gonna? And by the way, it's part of our prejudice that we call him black when he's really half white.
He's biracial.
Yeah, he's
But-
also
but it's like
he's also
the-
Middle Eastern.
Well,
His middle
no,
name is
well,
Hussein.
well,
Just having a middle name.
he has
My name is
Kenyan
Russian.
blood in it, not.
It doesn't matter.
But
He has-
so is,
You have a Russian origin.
No, actually, I don't. I don't have a single bit of Russian.
Your lineage is from Russia. You have roots in Russia.
No, actually, it
okay.
really is.
Can,
Yeah.
can I suggest
Yes, ma'am.
I know
Okay.
exactly where my
You want to
lineage
know
is.
who
It has
came
nothing
from
to do with
Syria
it.
that we
I just have a
really
Russian
should
name.
have not let in was Jobs' father.
Steve Jobs.
Yes, yes.
Steve Jobs did a great job for this country.
Well, he was kind of a rat personally, but
Oh, yeah.
he did. But he
But
was,
we're not talking
he
about
was-
personal, ma'am.
Well, okay, but bloodlines, he was in the Middle East.
Yeah.
So,
And who knows that whole iPhone setup and everything, and all the AOS or iOS systems and
whatever.
everything could be systematically spying on us in the
they
Americans.
probably are.
And they
Don't you
probably
feel like
are.
And
a
they
target?
probably are. That's why I don't support Apple.
How do we get on Steve Jobs?
Because he was talking about, I thought you were kind of saying it's a pejorative to have Middle
Yeah.
Eastern blood.
Yeah.
Well,
Barack
actually,
Obama, his father was African.
yeah, his father is
I
from
have
Kenya.
no Russian ancestry whatsoever. My mom just liked this Russian name and gave it to me. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
So a name doesn't necessarily
But did your family not immigrate from Russia?
no.
So you have no. If you went to
Yeah,
23andMe,
my dad
if you went
immigrated from Poland.
From
Or
Poland.
Or actually his great grandparents.
correct.
My mother came from either Germany or England. She's mixed.
If you want to find a trim,
I mean, we're all immigrants. I mean,
We're all
you know,
immigrants,
you go far
100%.
enough back, and you're from different
We're all
countries.
immigrants, exactly. But the thing about it is that we left our money in this country. We didn't send it back to Mexico
That's-
and Guadalajara and
but
Honduras.
Do a little research on that.
Ross.
You'll find it's not true.
Elsa.
Nice
the
to meet
thing
you.
is, a lot of those folks are paying into the system and they'll never get it.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is
Actually
that
don't get
what they're
those
doing
taxes.
exactly is that they're actually claiming children that live in Mexico and Guadalajara and Honduras, and they're claiming those children on their taxes, which they can actually file in the United States. And once they get that tax return, they send the money straight back to their countries of origin. I know that for sure because I know them personally.
Okay, but at least they're, a lot of them are paying taxes.
Some of
And
them
they'll
are.
never be able
I'm
to-
not saying there's
they'll
good
never
and
be
there's
able to
bad.
claim the benefit.
Well-
There's good and there's bad of all kinds.
Absolutely.
Okay,
You're
and
absolutely right.
there's good and there's bad in the government. It's one thing to enforce our
Yeah.
immigration laws, but it's another thing to break up families that do that, and that's what we're protesting
That was not
against.
actually
Do I
a law, it
think
was a policy.
do I think Trump should be on Twitter? No.
You think he should be
No, I
leading
agree
the
with you.
blog?
I think if he's trying to mend relationships that are struggled, yes. I think what he did in North Korea was phenomenal.
But it is,
You
they're
know-
not giving up
But
anything.
he actually didn't get them to agree to do anything. What he actually did was gave them a cessation of joint military exercises with South Korea.
What
which is
Trump
something
did
that
in
they
North
wanted.
Korea was the most talented thing I've ever seen a president do. You know what he did? He let an unruly dictator act like he had power, puppeted him like a string, puppeted him, and let him go on his way. So now that guy thinks that him and Trump are friends, which they're not.
Actually, I don't think he does.
And basically he's going to because he got the attention that he wanted from the United States. He's like that kid that
Well, it wasn't just
that
the
nobody
US.
pays attention to.
But it wasn't just the U.S.
That nobody
Basically
pays
got-
attention to, and finally he got the attention for the most powerful man in the world.
But he's not giving up any of his toys.
It doesn't matter. It's just for show. It's like a bunch of guy with a bunch of firecrackers and M80s and stuff at a big fireworks show.
Except that he has nuclear weapons, and I don't think that it's.
What's a nuclear weapon
Why-
if it doesn't detonate?
Why should Trump call him and
Do you
why
want
should
a
Trump
nuclear
praise
weapon?
him when he's starving his own people and
Because,
killing them? Why should Trump praise him?
What he's trying to do is preserve the world.
But what do you mean by world?
He's trying to preserve the world because he's a worldly leader, and to that nature, what he's trying to do is basically keep from us going into a World War III.
Well, you know,
That's why he's talking to Russia. That's why he's talking to North Korea. That's why he's talking to Japan. Because he is trying to make friends instead of enemies.
Well,
And he's good at making friends. I don't agree with the things that come out of his mouth sometimes. I don't agree.
So you don't think he should be praising dictators like Duterte?
The thing about it is that sometimes you have to say the things that you don't necessarily want to say to preserve your country.
well, to my mind, when you have a dictator like Kim Jong-un who starves his people and kills his people and keeps them trapped in their country
Yeah.
and actually goes outside of his country to kill people, and you put the American flag up next to his flag like they're on equal footing, that's a very, very bad
Now, what
mistake.
did Barack Obama do to Assad in Syria when he was gassing all of his people?
You know, he
He tried to
What
go-
did he do?
He tried to go before Congress and get like authorization.
Yeah,
for a
but
strike.
Trump
And
doesn't.
Obama-
Trump uses executive order.
I know, but he.
the same thing that Republicans used to criticize Obama
Yes,
for.
I mean
Yeah.
basically Obama. I've got.
If
I've got two
Obama would have
opinions.
stepped in and taken care of Assad, the Middle East would be a lot cleaner.
Or it could
I do
turn
think
into
that
a
his
real
response should have
tinderbox,
been much
a
more
lit
forceful.
tinderbox.
Exactly.
If McConnell,
Yeah, I agree.
McConnell did turn him down when
Yeah.
he came to, and he should have just said, you know, screw it. If they're not going to do it, I should do this, because he just gassed his own people with chlorine. You know, that's terrible.
Well,
And
it so happens that I'm a chemical operator and I know exactly what chlorine does to a person.
it's
I've seen it up
absolutely
close
hideous.
and personal.
I mean, they're choking to death.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's a place that's a tinderbox, and you don't necessarily want to light it on fire, and so you have to tread carefully. I think maybe he tread too carefully. Obama did.
Yeah, I think my dad's a vet, and he really thinks that Obama went to Congress to sort of get cover for not having to do anything because he knew that McConnell was going to turn him down.
Well,
And-
listen, we searched in caves and lost a lot of good men to find one single guy that we could have gotten who was trained by the CIA years and years and years ago. His family was protected in Florida. Did you know that? Did you know that Obama had family in Florida? Or not Obama, Osama. I don't even remember his name. He's such a distant memory. He was. So basically, he was trained by our government.
And I guess that brings up a point that I'd like to make.
Yeah.
The fact that our own intelligence agencies actually armed and trained what would eventually become the Taliban and so on.
Well, who do you think brings in heroin and drugs to suppress the lower class? The CIA. Come on, you didn't know that?
That's conspiracy theory stuff.
That's not a conspiracy theory. That's fact.
Okay, well, you can see it that
I have
way.
my doubts about the whole crack cocaine thing.
Well, yeah. Well, no, yeah, crack cocaine, everything. Well, they came up with crack
I really
cocaine.
think that was definitely used.
Yeah, they were intuitive and very smart when it came to learning how to break down crack and cocaine and put them together. They just wanted one powerful thing to make you up.
But the way they would prosecute people for crack cocaine much more harshly than they would for other forms of cocaine, and that was
Correct.
racially based. And
Yeah,
it
because
seemed like
cocaine's a rich man's drug. And usually if you can afford cocaine, you can afford a good lawyer.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I have no great love for intelligence agencies because I remember they used to wiretap.
Do you know that's an oxymoron?
No great love for intelligence.
No, intelligence agencies.
Intelligence agency.
Ah, yes.
It's an oxymoron. They don't go together. It's like summer school.
They gather a lot of data, but human nature.
Yeah.
there are things going on.
Yeah.
One of the things that learning more about what's going on in the world has taught me is that there are a lot of things that I didn't know that Obama did, and now that I do understand that he was the reporter-in-chief. He actually reported lots of people who, in many cases, hadn't really done anything that you would think would warrant a deportation, like for a broken taillight or for things like that. And he did a lot. And very simple part of me thinks that he sort of made overtures to people, but he didn't actually try to help them treat this or anything like that very much. I guess for me, more important to me than the nationalism.
You have a couple of questions about LeBron.
Yeah, the LeBron in schools. Can you catch me up? I know this message and I know a lot of this, but I don't understand LeBron in schools.
He just started a school in.
I agree.
What's the name of that town? I think it's somewhere in Ohio, but I'm not sure. Should have paid more attention to that location for at-risk kids, and he's going to be guaranteeing them college scholarships and things like that. You can obviously Google it. I know
Sure,
you know
I will.
that.
Sure, of course I will. Yeah, of course.
And and for that, the president got on Twitter and called him an idiot and a stupid dummy and things like that.
Okay. So Trump engaged him on it, oh my God. Okay, thank you. I understand. I'll look into it.
We'll look into that now.
All right. All right, thanks.
There's all these rollbacks of what they say is just pointless regulation, but in some cases, some of it is actually protections that were put in place after years of research and data that showed that, yes, coal dust actually does increase the incidence of lung cancer in people who've never smoked. My own grandmother died because of a genetic change to her DNA that was caused by her grandparents' exposure to coal dust in her native home.
Yeah.
She never smoked a day in her life, but she got this epigenetic change, which is changed in the structure of the gene, but not the gene itself, and it passed through.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's really tragic because it was something that could have been prevented.
Yeah.
If reporters had not been exposed to that.
There's a TV show on now that I watched the other night. It's called Whistleblowers, and I think it's new. And the one I happened to run into was this guy that was a whistleblower against Grumman. Grumman, what was the full name of that company? I can't think of the full name.
Oh,
they're a military contractor.
The military armory, yeah.
And so basically they were double charging and triple charging the government just out the yin-yang, okay? So after he got wind of this, he started smuggling out documents to prove all of this, okay? So then he was contacted by the FBI, and he ended up working with the FBI. And for whatever reason, probably politics and money, in the end, although they had lots of evidence, the government did not prosecute Grumman.
Yeah.
So he got involved with a lawsuit with another guy who had a lawsuit going against Grumman. And they had this lawsuit going against Grumman for a long time. You know how long that takes. And they eventually got the government to come in on this, and Grumman eventually settled for just under $100 million, which is probably chump change for them.
Chump change. It is. It's probably a couple vehicles.
But the thing is that there were people at his work, tax-paying American citizens, probably love their country, who shunned him and treated him poorly, and his tires were slashed.
Oh, yeah.
But actually there was one thing, I know when his tires were slashed, his lug nuts were loosened, and he was going down the road and his tire fell off.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened to his daughter.
Yeah.
And these are probably people that were angry about what he was doing, and they felt maybe that he was
betraying them,
and the company, and somehow the government.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how they would work that one out. But the point is that just being angry about something doesn't make, you being angry about something or me being angry about something doesn't make us right. We have to look at the facts, and we have to look at what's really going on. And so, like I was saying before, you can be against illegal immigration, and you can be, pro for sending them back. But you don't have to be for separating children. You know?
I agree. I don't think children should be separated.
And
I don't think it made any sense for them to separate the families.
Well, good. I'm glad.
They just didn't build the facilities big enough.
Your name's Ross?
Yeah.
It wasn't even.
Hey, I'm Russ.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
So-
What's your name?
Sasha.
Sasha. Nice to meet you. Yeah.
So,
From around here, Ross?
No, I'm originally from Chicago. I live in New Orleans.
I had a business trip there years ago before Katrina. I fell in love with it. I stayed.
I stayed too.
Yep, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've been there about a year.
You knew it before Katrina?
No.
It was wonderful. I hope, I'm sure it still has the
It's
same
building
flavor.
back up.
Yeah.
It's all the neighborhoods are rebuilding and everything.
When I
Music
went
is
back, it
great.
wasn't too long after the storm had hit, and
Yeah.
it was definitely a different place. The vibe just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And people were a lot more harsh with each other.
Yeah, that's because there's a lot more people from out of state, like myself, that are going in.
Also,
A lot of those people left. A lot of all those people from New Orleans left after that. They were devastated, and
some went
things, and a lot of, you know, it wasn't taken care of the way it should have been taken care of. It didn't get the funding. It didn't get the project programs.
I mean, it was a systemic
Yeah.
failure of FEMA and also just the Corps of Engineers. They knew, many of them actually knew about the problems with the levees, and they just never, they just kept kicking the can down
Yeah.
the road.
It just, I mean, even if it was George W., I mean, he wasn't the one. He's just the
Well,
president.
It didn't start with him.
No, but I mean,
but he also
he was there during Katrina. He was the administration. So
But it also didn't help that he was telling that guy, "You're doing a heck of a job," when actually the exact opposite was happening.
yeah,
And just again, kind of turning a blind eye to, or maybe just not even knowing what was going on.
or are you talking about Trump?
No, about Bush.
Oh.
Just not really understanding what was.
Oh
going
yeah, he
on.
wasn't that smart. I mean, he C's get you degrees. I get it. He went to Yale. Yale's not that good of a school.
well, that's pretty good, but you know, I think he coasted a lot on his daddy's reputation and his
And
name.
the money.
But, you know, the thing I liked about Bush was that although I had a disagreement with a lot of his policies, and I think sometimes he didn't get in touch with his own compassion, I think that, you know, overall he meant well.
He did mean well. He had a good heart.
You know, and
Cheney,
yeah, Cheney is a little different.
who I think was actually running the country.
Yeah, he was. He was.
I mean, Bush is a guy that you know, you could sit down and have a beer with. I
Yeah.
mean, I wouldn't want to
And
have a
smoke a
beer with
doobie.
Trump. I would want to have a beer with most every other
And he would
president.
paint your face. He was talented.
He's still painting.
Yeah, I know. I've been looking at this Nova this whole time, man. It's
Oh, I
pretty
know.
sweet.
Yeah,
Sweet ride.
I saw that.
I wonder if it's. I doubt he would sell it to me.
Well, everybody's got their price.
You're 100% about that. Well, guys, I wish you luck.
Well,
I
thanks.
apologize for getting fired up at you.
That's all right. That's all
I
right.
got a
We're-
lot of brothers and
we're-
I
sisters
think
who.
that having conversations like this is exactly what this country needs.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I agree.
People get in their silos and they don't talk.
I'm a communications major.
Oh, well, that's
what kind of bike do you have?
I got a 2018 Road Glide Special,
Okay.
hard candy paint red.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know very much
They're-
about bikes, but it sounds
Yeah.
it's pretty sweet. I
They're-
ain't gonna lie.
they're-
I'm pretty blessed.
They're fun to ride. I just worry about accidents.
My mom's a
Yeah.
retired nurse now, but she used to call them donut cyclists. So many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't for everybody texting and driving nowadays, we'd be a lot safer.
But that's actually more of a new thing. People have always.
They're in a hurry. They don't look twice. You know.
And also, there's the driver's fault too. They might not see them. They might not know how to look for guys on bikes. Things
Well,
like
people
that.
nowadays are overworked, underpaid, and underappreciated. It's sad.
Well, I think you're right about that. How are you going to vote in November?
What you mean?
Well, Republicans have been attacking unions for decades now.
Yeah,
and
I've been a
unions,
union worker for a long time.
Yeah.
I worked for BP, and then I worked for IMTT, one of the biggest. I mean, those are obviously biggest oil and chemical companies in the nation.
But the unions were a big part of
IMTT.
building up the middle
You know
class.
IMTT?
I work for ITT.
ITT, I got you.
But the unions were a big part of building up the middle class and getting them fair wages.
Yeah.
And,
We need to
you know,
protect our middle class American
and Democrats are supporting unions, and Republicans have been attacking them.
Yeah.
You know, that's the one thing that people like us, the Democrats or the liberals, will often talk about people that are voting for Trump. We can't figure out, because they seem to be voting, from what we can tell, they seem to be voting against their own self-interest.
Yeah.
And we don't understand that, because companies are actually at record profit levels now.
But it's not
You know?
translating down to people like us.
Yeah, but it's not coming down to the people that are doing the work.
Yeah.
You know, the CEO gets $100 million and gets a ton of credit, but he can do diddly without all those people in the plants
I
and
agree.
everywhere
Don't
else.
get me started.
There
on
should
that.
be a what do they call it's a cap, just like
Yeah.
they do in baseball.
Yeah,
They
some
used-
kind of something
they
like
also
that.
used to have caps on contributions to political campaigns, but Citizens United basically.
We also shouldn't pay celebrities and everything to make movies that much. And
Well, yeah.
they're overpaid. They don't do anything.
And the firemen,
Bunch of do-nothing
the
people.
firemen, the police officers, and the
Yeah.
teachers are underpaid.
Yeah.
I agree. Teachers should be teachers. Honestly, to me, should be the highest paid people in the United States. Teachers.
Absolutely right.
See, we love what LeBron James did. He opened up
Obviously,
that school.
you can tell I had some great teachers, because I'll take credit for my great teachers. The reason why I am the way I am, and how successful I am, I don't need to.
You're in communications. What do you do?
Well, I never used the communications degree.
Oh, okay. A lot of people. That's true for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I was sports broadcasting.
Okay.
I just ended up playing college football and then not. I mean, I was a full scholarship athlete.
All right.
I
Cool.
was environmental, so in water science.
Oh, yeah, I
And
loved
thought-
environmental science.
I thought about becoming an environmental lawyer at one point,
Yeah.
but I still considered it a very valuable education because it told me about the relationship between the law and protections for environmental quality. Like
Yeah.
I'm a sportsman. I like to fish.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to get to be so bad where I couldn't eat the fish
Hey,
or get out on my streams.
Well, New Orleans, the water is so polluted that just the other day I went fishing and there was a fish kill because of the pumping stations. They're pumping out some sort of a toxic water. And Pontchartrain, Lake Pontchartrain, that separates the North Shore and the South Shore, which I'm from. North Shore is where I used to live. The water is so filled with, riddled with bacteria that you can't even swim in there. There's actually a brain-eating bacteria.
Yeah.
And do you guys hear about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flesh-eating bacteria, but I haven't heard about brain.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure
it
it's
gets into
circulating.
your sinuses.
Sure. Yeah.
And it happens other places too.
Yeah.
Not just there, but yeah, it's bad.
It's
That's scary.
Yeah, it's scary. You can't even let your kids, they want to go in the water and things like that. They get stuck in a pool.
Then we have things like red
Well, what
tide.
about the environment? I mean, because that's another thing where it's like,
Well, on environment, we can't even get. I got 10 minutes. Environment, real quick, is that there's so much in industry, or as Trump would call it, how does he say industry? He says it really funny. Industry or something. I don't know, anyway,
Weird-
but it's funny.
weird
So there's no way, because Japan and Asia and everything, they're pumping out so many, the wind. It's just, you can't do nothing about it. There's no way that we can suppress the industry that's going on overseas. Or in Canada with the tar fields,
sands,
and
yeah.
the tar sands and everything like that.
There are things
that can be done, but it begins with an attitude that one side
Exactly,
is
but
real.
how can Trump
Let
do
me
everything?
please-
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
can't do everything,
Let
but
me
there are
speak.
some things.
I have held my tongue all this time.
Well-
Kudos to you for staying calm. But on the environment, you know that's my issue.
Well, the environment.
It starts with acknowledging that science is real, and that facts are facts. You can differ on opinions, but there are facts, and science is real, and climate change is real. All right?
I agree.
Okay.
I wasn't going to disagree with you.
This administration is anti-science, anti-climate change.
oh darn it! I just remembered a thing I got today at 1:30.
They have stripped the EPA of all power. They put their polluters in power.
Well, it's at Starbucks, so I can get something
we don't
there.
have a planet B, as is popular saying.
there might be.
We have got
Okay, I figured as much, but
No. We have got, not in our lifetimes, not in our children's lifetimes, not in our grandchildren's
I think you're gonna
lifetimes,
have to have a lot of
will
money to
there
get a
be
Planet B.
another planet B if there even exists one. We have this one, and we are responsible for it, and we are responsible for what we're doing to it. And I tell you We turned around the ozone
Well,
hole.
well, he was making a valid point in that we can't control what other countries do. I mean, we have very limited
But we
control of it.
can't
Yeah, you're
pull
right.
out of the climate.
No,
of the
you're right.
Paris Accord
You're right.
and
There's
then
international
set
things.
ourselves up as an
There's
authority.
things we can do on an international level, but we ultimately
See,
we
the
can't
thing about
control
it is,
them.
ma'am, is that here's in a short, because I got just a couple more minutes with y'all. Is really to world police is probably one of the hardest jobs you could possibly do.
So what? World police,
World
yeah.
police.
Oh yeah,
And nobody in this world has the power to police the world.
that's the truth.
And that's it. I'll leave you with that. And I'm going to go
All
look
right,
at that
man.
Nova
Thanks
now.
a lot, buddy.
Yep. Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Yep. Yep. Good luck to y'all.
Just keep an open mind toward us bleeding heart liberals.